First time. My name is Brent Leo-Smith and I cannot wait to take you on a little adventure. As you can see, I'm inside and we've got them and Charles behind me and Thor running around, and you might be able to hear a little bit of the rain on the tin roof above us. So it is raining, so we're inside today for the first time. So I sound quite echoey. Ooh. Where is the lab mic? We're going to move it. Hold on, everyone. How far can I go? Can I go? Can I keep going? Yeah. Just to try bring the echo down. Hello, Barbara. Hello, Applehead. Rob. How's that? Better? A lot better. Okay, there we go. Well, we now know when we do it inside, the mic cannot be placed somewhere in front of me. It needs to be on me. Probably shouldn't have worn my nice jersey because it looks a bit strange on it. But anyway, we are live, so this type of things we deal with, and we just keep going. Let's see who else is here. Redstone Prime, Vicky, T-Kid1. I actually saw earlier. Hi, Michael. There was a comment that I wanted to jump on. Now I've lost it. Of course I've lost it. Ah, yes, someone was talking about Jack Hanna. I think it was TD Kid 1 and quite a few different people talking about JS. I did a breakfast with Jack Hanna and his wife. He's a really nice guy. He is a very nice guy. I've actually been fortunate enough to meet him multiple times in my life. The first time was in Botswana. I was quite young at that time, and he came and did some filming where my parents were at Kwondo Safaris. And then the second time, we actually walked about 22 kilometers through a rainforest to meet Jack Hanna when he landed on the beach in the helicopter with the Gabonese government. He was doing a tour and doing a bit of a show. And he wanted to discuss what was happening with people who were actually on the ground. So I went and walked through. Ah, there's my coffee. I can hear the kettle. I went and walked through and had a chat on the beach at Petit Luongo with Jack Hanna about wildlife in Gabon and what we've been seeing. So quite cool. I just saw someone mention Jack Hanna. Now I'm sure I'm so behind on on the comments. Now I see there's a comments about certain people and big cats and Tiger King and all that type of stuff. As I said, we're busy in the process of doing research on doing a full show on that. There's one of the names there that I'm very, very hesitant to call. I wouldn't call it a sanctuary. Dean Schneider, it's not a sanctuary, it's a zoo. It's his personal zoo. It's tiny, and he does that for Insta likes, would be my personal opinion. But as I said, I don't want to get into that tonight. That is something I'll be doing later on. Oh, thank you, Yvonne. Where's my coffee now, Zander? The kettle's boiled.
Actually, I don't want to interrupt you.
No, don't worry. My cup is the one with the condensed milk in it. I think mine's behind you, next to the condensed milk. For those of you, I love my coffee condensed milk when it's cold. Ooh, Betty, Jack Hanna must. I mean, when I met him a while ago, has it got condensed milk in it?
Yeah.
And then
just like condensed.
Yes, but the filter coffee, the plunger. Have I put coffee in the plunger? I got sidetracked. Yes, Redstone Prime. Yesterday was International Hyena Day, or World Hyena Day. I forgot. What was I doing yesterday? I was tracking lions. Either or, that's fine. Thank you. Michael, that is a map on the wall behind me. However, it is an old, outdated map. So it is a map of this area. We will be doing our own maps at some point. Patty Whitehead, no sugar, no, but I've got condensed milk, which is more sugar than any sugar could ever be.
I've got another coffee question. How much of this do we put in the plunger?
Do you want to just bring the plunger to me? Okay. Yes, Dad. My dad's saying the kettles don't boil, only the water does. Thank you, Dad. Okay, so before we get too involved in Tiger King and stuff, as I said, we want to do that as a standalone piece where we will be discussing it. This is actually okay. See, I don't actually measure. I just no. Let's take the stronger one. Oh, the Kenyan coffee's nearly done. That'll do. Oh, no, Zander's even bringing me the hot water. Isn't this wonderful? Service. Absolute service. Oh, Dad is sending me stuff at the same time, and I think it's relevant. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Just give me a second. I'm waiting to hear. That is exactly very relevant since yesterday was World Hyena Day. I'm just trying to find out where the picture my dad has just sent me is from. Thank you, Zander. I'll let it settle. Lindsay, yes, coffee. Oh, it is not from here. It was from Namibia. I got very excited. My dad sent me a picture of a brown hyena cub, but it was from Namibia. Let me get that all ready. Okay, so while we're busy sorting everything out, what we have on our live cams today, we actually, I think this is, okay, well, I know we've got, for the very first time, and we're very excited about that, for the first time on our live cams, we've caught a new animal that we've never caught before, but let's go see what it is. So there we go. This is at where we've got lots of firsts. The old Leadwood hyena den. And I think it is the horseshoe male leopard. And that was at 10 o'clock this morning, strangely enough. Having a walk, having a stop, posing perfectly in front of camera before carrying on. Now we need to get some screen grabs and stuff and have a closer look at his forehead to see exactly which leopard that is. But I think it looks like the horseshoe male leopard. So can't really see on there, but there is, yes, I think that is horseshoe. Isn't that beautiful? So that's the first leopard we've ever caught on the live cams, and I think we're going to be catching quite a few more. Okay. Let's see what questions we have. Redstone Prime, we are going to talk about hyenas, but hyenas we're going to get their own show. Probably next week we'll do on hyenas, because we've got lots of incredible footage from that Leadwood hyena den. So we will definitely do a show just on hyenas. Redstone Prime, we don't know where the current hyena or the Leadwood clan, where they're denning currently. We think they're denning on one of the next door properties, a property called Raptors View, or on Zandspruit, but they are not denning currently within the Rietspruit Reserve. So hopefully they will be back soon. Thank you, Patty. Okay, let's have a look what else we've got going today. As I said, with the rain, the live cams have been a bit quiet, so unfortunately we don't have too much highlights except for that very exciting leopard. Yay. Now a lot of people say if you drink coffee after a certain time at night they can't go to sleep or can't go to bed. I do not have that problem. I can literally drink a massive cup of very strong coffee and go straight to bed 20 minutes later. Not a problem at all. Well, there we go. Oh, Patty, glad to finally have a day off and catch you live again. Well, we're wonderful to have you live with us, Patty. Oh yeah, time for my coffee. Okay, and I know I've learned from last time, Zander will shout at me if I leave the spoon in because it makes a noise. Kitty Kitty Bang Bang, he's called Horseshoe because there's a very sort of distinct marking on his forehead that looks like a horseshoe. So that's how he got his name. So I'm pretty sure it's Horseshoe. Oh, see, now I can actually sit here. Where's my stick? So there was a bit of a mistake there, but don't worry. Speaking of that, let's go to the news. Okay, so our first point is a very, very sad point. Unfortunately, all our news points for this week or for this Tuesday are quite sad. And a lot of you who follow the art and conservation world will know that sort of a giant in the art and conservation world has passed away, and that is Peter Beard. Now, Peter Beard is my absolute favorite photographer. I don't think I have ever seen a photograph of his I don't like. He did some amazing work in Kenya in the sort of starting of his career. He was also known as a fashion photographer, and he did a lot of stuff with models and wildlife, and he also brought a lot of press to a lot of the problems that Africa faced. And his favorite book of mine is called Eyelids of the Morning, which is while he was based up at Lake Turkana with guys who were doing crocodile research at the time. But probably his most famous and well-known book is called The End of Game, and there's some very disturbing photographs of the mass die-out of elephants in Tsavo during a drought. But yeah, so he was by far my favorite photographer, a very unique and different style, but definitely my favorite wildlife photographer of all time. So very, very sad. And now, of course, this is something a lot of the next news items, something a lot of us, well, it didn't take too much to predict. With the world going into lockdown and tourism sort of slowing down and shutting down in some cases, there was always going to be an uptake in poaching. Now, a lot of people would think that the ivory and rhino horn poaching would increase. In this case, it's actually decreased. So like anything, with the world being shut down and travel being very difficult, having to ship ivory and rhino horn and stuff would be very, very difficult because of all the strict rules that are around with the COVID virus. However, local meat poaching throughout Africa will definitely be up, particularly in areas and in sectors where people have been heavily hit by being laid off or put on unpaid leave, etc. And people don't have money to buy food and whatnot. So we will see an increase in meat poaching, snare poaching, in this area and other areas of Africa. And also, you've got to remember that one of the biggest employers in a lot of the rural parts of Africa could be the oil industry or mines, and all of those have been very heavily hit, so people aren't able to go shopping. So in certain circumstances, they are turning towards wildlife as a food source. Now, we've got to remember to be sensitive to these issues, as difficult as it is for us to imagine setting a snare to catch an animal. However, if your family is starving and you have no money to go buy food, you can either steal or you can poach. Well, poaching is a form of stealing. So we do need to remember to be sensitive that we can't always put ourselves in other people's shoes. And it is a very sad time for the rest of the world as well. So we'll keep monitoring that. Thank you, JS. Diane, will there be an increase for the help for animals? Unfortunately, again, that is probably not. A lot of the organizations like Endangered Wildlife Trust and Rhino Revolution and that are running on a donations basis. So when at a time like this where people do not have spare cash, it is often those type of things that take a bit of a hit. But we are working on some exciting stuff with Endangered Wildlife Trust to help change that. Okay, let me just see, there's some questions coming in. Only fences are near human settlements, but still fences. Yes, exactly. Barbara, we are coming to that shortly. Let's see. There we go, exactly. Redstone Prime, I think that's a good way to sum it up. Some people do bad things with good intentions. Okay. there we go, Cat 3, that's a wonderful point. So there's very different types there's quite a few different types of poaching. Well, mainly you can break it down to two, subsistence and commercial. Commercial poaching is for financial gain, subsistence poaching is to survive. So I think we're going to see an uptake in subsistence poaching over the short term. Redstone Prime conservation is considered an essential service. However, a lot of those conservation projects, etc., are funded by things that aren't creating any money at the moment. Okay, so I saw someone mentioned a bit earlier, the last bit of news is very, very sad, and it is a park I really want to visit one day, and that is Virunga National Park. And there was a very sad case that happened, I think it was on Friday last week. Now, the rangers were not actually killed or targeted. They were escorting civilians through the southern end of the park near Goma, which is the provincial capital of that district of the DRC, and they were attacked, and defending the civilian convoy, they were killed, as well as quite a few civilians. Now, the eastern DRC is probably one of the most violent parts of Africa, and has been for a long time. It's got a very complicated political structure. There's rebel groups that are from Uganda and from Rwanda and from the DRC, and there's a lot of accusing between those countries about Ugandans funding the Rwandan rebel group, and the Rwandans funding the Ugandans, and add the Congo rebel groups into it. So it is a very unstable politically area, and that is why there's a lot of violence in that area. It is also quite famously where people got two British tourists last year, I think it was, got taken hostage, and the park ranger who was with them was killed. But out of all the parks in Africa, Virunga is by far had the most deaths of rangers, and that's not only from situations like this, but from also anti-poaching and that. And it is a very, 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 very complicated place, and currently is possibly one of the most diverse parks in Africa. It's got one of the strongholds for mountain gorillas. It goes down onto the lakes, and so there's open savannas, elephants. It used to have an incredible population of northern white rhino that are unfortunately now extinct, but a really, really big population of rhino were in that area. Michael, will this incident impact tourism traffic even more in the future once the COVID-19 situation is over? Michael, Virunga has been on a sort of no tourism zone or list for quite some time. So it possibly might, but I think most people who are going to go into that area to see the gorillas are going to go to Rwanda or Uganda, and most governments, foreign governments, recommend that you do not visit Virunga at the moment, and has been like that for quite some time. And there it is, right, Daz just popped another little interesting fact in there. Virunga was the first national park ever declared in Africa. Strangely enough, I've done quite a bit of research on Virunga. They used to use forest elephants. It's one of the first cases of domestication of elephants. And they used to use forest elephants to do their patrols, and they still have some working elephants in the park. And also to do bush clearing and road maintenance, they used to use elephants. So very, very interesting park. There's some amazing literature on it, and if you do have a chance, I recommend you do read up on Virunga. Applehead Rob, so what do rangers do if they encountered armed poachers? It completely depends on the situation and where you are. I mean, the guys in Virunga, they're not what we would consider poachers up here. They often go up against 300 or 400 people armed with mortars, RPG, missiles, SAM surface-to-air missiles, grenade launchers, and mortar. So it is all almost encountering a military force, a full military force. However, when a poacher out here, for rhino poaching, it's probably 1 or 2 individuals with a single rifle, and a meat poacher will probably just have his snares, and a knife to butcher the animals. So yes, it all depends on the different situations and how the rangers would react. Vicky, what type of punishment or penalty do poachers receive? Now that completely depends on the country and the legislature in that country. And a lot of that has been changed. South Africa has quite harsh sentences with rhino poaching. However, for a subsistence poacher, you would probably find it would be a fine. A commercial meat poacher, there would be something different. And I think, I don't actually know exactly what the punishments would be. Okay, now we're going to move on from the news section and let's try liven it up a little bit with some happier stuff. And we're going to go across to what we've been up to since you last saw us on Animal World Live, and that has been a lot of tracking. And this morning, Zanda and I tracked for 3.5 hours with no success. So Zander and I went out early this morning, just the two of us, and unfortunately we had to start from way behind where the lion tracks were. So eventually after about an hour and a half, we got to where it was fresh. Now that was incredible. This is where the lions had tried to grab a warthog, and the warthog had just narrowly escaped. And they sort of headed down towards this amazing area, my favorite part of the Deep Sloot River, and that's very close to where we returned bucket. And look at that, we're on top of a cliff and we could see the lion tracks down on the bottom of the cliff. So we're hoping they were close. We went down into the river. There's a little place there called the Rotsval. Oh, now I'm confused. Where have we gone? Oh, we've come to fix the...
Oh, it's our morning.
Oh, it's our whole morning. So the lions, we failed with the lions. And then we noticed the water was a little bit low at SAST. So we went and... well, you can't see it there, but I played with the bore valve and filled up the water hole. So that's what we've been up to. Now that was just this morning, and as you can see, it's raining now. Or you can't see, I'm inside, but you can hear on the roof it's raining. So I didn't go out this afternoon. The other night, on the last episode of Animal World Live, we went live with some of what was happening when we heard the cheetahs chirping. But what we did find initially, before we found Mabai and Impy, was the two cubs. So we heard some alarm calls and some movement around, and we raced through to see, and that's where we found the two little ones. Obviously a bit stressed after being chased by Impy. And so they were hiding out not far from where we were with Mom and Impy, with Mabai and Impy, but they did eventually obviously join up. Actually later that night we watched them join up, and they then disappeared and melted into the night, and they were seen this morning but very, very far away from here. And this is my solo safari. I went out the one morning by myself, and I was lucky enough to just sit and spend a few hours with the cheetah cubs, playing, jumping up and down into the trees, while Mom was just snoozing underneath. I mean, almost looks like a leopard, it went so high there. It was an absolutely fantastic morning, and actually very, very close to the house. Okay. So, and then of course, we've been spending a lot of time with the cheetahs, but we're not going to harp onto them because we did a whole cheetah show last time. And we have a very special thing that happened a year ago last night. And that was the night that we actually rescued Bucket, the lion cub. And so today was the morning was today when she was reunited with her mom. But we've got a very nice sort of a year in the life of Bucket to show you, and just show you how much she's grown over the last year.
Do you remember those long summers we We played water fights, stayed up at night, and dreamed of ways through the world. I still remember the first time I kissed you. The look on your face as I grazed your lips with my lips. Our worlds collided. Those were the days when everything was possible. Our dreams were alive, we had a fire inside. Those were the days. Those were the days. I'll always remember that cold night you told me we're not two, but we're gonna be three. In 8 months we'll be a family. Those were the days when everything was possible. Our dreams were alive, we had a fire inside. Those were the days. These are the days, and everything's still possible. Our dreams are alive, we've got that fire inside. These are the days. These are the days, and everything's still possible. Our dreams are alive, we've got that fire inside. These are the days. These are the days.
Wasn't that absolutely wonderful? It's amazing how much she's grown, and I mean, obviously Bucket's got a very special place in our hearts, and very lucky to have been able to help her. And I can't believe it's been a year already. How times have changed and things have changed, and Bucket's big and she's got other little cubs to play with, and so absolutely wonderful. For those of you who haven't watched, I saw there was some people saying, what happened, or what was the story? You're going to have to go watch the Bucket story on YouTube. But the short and long of it is she wandered off with some male lions, and she was losing condition, and we helped return her to her mother. But it's a little bit more complicated than that. You're going to have to go watch the full story. So, strangely enough, we've been working on a Bucket as a standalone 1 hour documentary or feature film. So hopefully that will be done in some time, and it might be on TV near you somewhere in the world. We're waiting to hear about that, but Zander's been working particularly hard on that. So that's very, very exciting. Zander's very modest, but he does an absolutely amazing job. I might make him, since we're inside, I can actually call on everyone. Make people come sit in front of the camera. These head shakes. Charles is just keeping his head facing the other way. Okay, well, we'll see. I might just embarrass them a little bit later. Redstone Prime, why is she called Bucket? Well, gonna have to watch to see why she's called Bucket. There we go. There's the link for those of you who haven't watched the story of Bucket. So Vicky, it was only Bucket that got lost, not her sibling. Her sibling stayed, BB, Bucket's brother, stayed in the den. How old is Bucket now? Oof, 1 year and 2 months. Yeah, 1 year and 2 months old. It is amazing how long she survived without any food there, Mars. Yes, Linda, you do have to do your homework. Go back and watch the old Painted Dog Series 1, Safari with Brent. And of course, now we're going to be moving home, hopefully at the end of this week, which is very, very exciting because we're going to be able to be bringing you a new area. And it's going to take some time while we get everything developed and whatnot. But we will be posting about that as soon as everything's tied up and sorted. But very exciting. It is Big 5 and open to Kruger. And I, for one, can't wait to spend some time with elephants as well. Michael, yes, she will stay with her Hanna and Yeleti when she becomes an adult. She's not going anywhere. Redstone Prime should have named the other cub Spade, Bucket and Spade. Well, I think we just went with BB, Bucket's brother. Applehead Rob, why didn't her fathers feed her or feed Bucket? Well, they just didn't have the tools, as in mammary glands. She was too young to be sufficient or to be solely eating meat, so that's why they couldn't feed her. And go watch the show. There's some very, very sad, very heart-wrenching stuff of her trying to suckle off a male lion. So the lockdown is not being lifted as such, but it is going down a level. We have 5 different levels of lockdown, and we'll be moving to level 4. And because we are a broadcast production crew, we are able to move a little bit more than we were on level 5, which means we will be able to traverse to and from our new filming area, which is very exciting. And of course the reach rate. We're definitely not stopping the reach rate. We're just going to spend our time equally between the 2 different reserves. But in the initial stages, while we are setting up on the new reserve, we're going to be spending a bit more time that side, getting the lay of the land, so to speak. Well, Annie, we're just going home to the house, my house. Cheetah Kim, we're not going to stop following Bye and the Cubs. We will definitely still follow them. We're just going to be opening up a second area. So we will definitely still be following all the characters you've come to love here. Bucket, Bibi, Hahani, Nyaleti, Bye, the Ritsprate Male Lion Coalition, and Little Miss Maya, I'm not sure. I don't know about what their deals are. Yes, Ubombo Girl, it is incredible that the bucket rescue was a success, and obviously we had some lumps in our throats wondering whether it would be successful and whether she would be found by Mom before hyenas or something found her, because she was making a lot of noise, and that could have attracted all sorts of other predators. Applehead Rob, the new place is not where Hosanna is, unfortunately. But we'll have to get to know some new leopards. I have it on good authority that there are 2 leopard cubs of about 3 weeks old in the new place. So that could be quite exciting. And there we go. Let's see. Well, let's take some questions. Does anyone have any questions for us? Now is the time to ask. And let me just think quickly. Okay, here we go. No. Here we go, Diane. Glad you get to go home. Nothing like home. Yes, it's been a while since we're at home. My younger brother has been there by himself. Hopefully he hasn't burnt the place down. We will find out on Friday. Yes, thank you, Velma. Thank you, Kruger. And yes, someone else who I'm quite sure is excited to go home because she doesn't have movement restrictions, because she's had probably the strictest movement restrictions of anyone, haven't you? Come here. Sit. Oh, I can't move with this. That's fine. Chloa. Just throw that here, Charles. Bribery and corruption. So the person who's probably most excited to go home is Chloa, because here we obviously a lot more. Come on. You little rat. She's running past me at high speed. You're a high speed dog. He doesn't want to be on the show today. Oh, she just wants to play. And so, sorry, she's completely distracted me now. Come here. Let's see. Applehead Rob, yes. The predators can and prey move freely in the open system that is the Greater Kruger National Park. So yes, they can move wherever they want. Okay. Jordan, does Panthera Research Group work in the Reach Break? Not currently. Patty, have we gotten into any arguments while we've been under lockdown? One or two? One or two grumpy moments? There's VM smiling. Yeah, but nothing out of the usual that we would normally have even if we're at home. You got to remember, for us, lockdown isn't quite that different from normal life. So we all live together, we all work together, so the arguments are normal. The only thing is we've just been living in a different house for the lockdown. We've grown closer. Yes, yeah, we're very close on the Badger as well. It's a very small vehicle, so we're a very tight crew, so to speak. The wild dogs are doing okay. They are back on Blowbunk, so where we are, and there were tracks not too far from here this afternoon, but as I said, hopefully we'll catch up with them in this week before we head back with the Melita pack. Hi guy, okay, do you want to say hello now? Okay, sit. Go sit. No, you can't sit that far, I can't catch you there. You know that. Oh, you're so noisy. Yes, now say hi. Are you happy now? See, someone is very happy to go home. Where you don't have to get locked inside or being escorted when you go outside, hey? Where there's less things that can eat you. Pam, any topic you want, you can ask any question you would like. So, Annie says, lovely to hear Vim. Vim, maybe you should come sit here next to me for 2 minutes. Oh, he doesn't know. Oh, I don't know, you can go back to taking the wheel after you've said hello to everyone. Here we go. Now is your chance to ask Vim any questions. There's another chair over there, you can fetch Vim. He's not looking happy about this.
I'm not as quick as Brian.
He's not as quick as Brian. Yeah. And for those of you, Brian made it home safely. Yes, so he's back at home. He just is clawing in the way of the mic. There we go. What's Uncle Vim doing? So if anyone's got any questions for Vim, come on Vim. There's just a lot of people saying, come on Vim. I thought you were all at home during lockdown. Based on past streams. Sparrow, we locked down on the Rietspruit Reserve. The family that owns Blowbunk were kind enough to let us operate from here during lockdown. Peer pressure from Cheetah Kim. Hi Puppy, okay. Puppy wants to go. Off you go, Trouble. Hi Vim, there's lots of hi Vims.
Hello, what's up?
Vim, who is the dominant male in your camp?
Like lions, it changes.
It changes, exactly. But there's definitely, the two dominant males are definitely Vim and myself. But yeah, who's the most dominant at the time? Like lions, it changes. Depends on what we're doing. Yeah. If it's tech or putting up cameras, it's the dominant male. If it's talking nonsense, I'm the dominant male.
Or driving.
Or driving, yes. TD Kid 1 says, no questions, just tons of praise for VM. R. Moore would like to know who's the best cook. Who cooks the best food?
I'm going to try.
Yeah, VM makes eggs. Egg breads.
I can make a mean popcorn.
And popcorn. VM actually has popcorn down to a science where he has a thermometer that he checks the temperature of the oil before he adds in the... Where's the special tool? There's the special tool. Thank you, Zander. So Virunga actually has popcorn making down to a science.
Check the crew.
Yeah, you can see. And also, very useful for Corona.
You have to now. It's
You have to.
regulation.
Here we go. Virunga is only 34.8 degrees Celsius, so he is fine. He does not have... Sparrow, Virunga, how much time does it take to edit your magic?
Well, it depends. But now with Zander here, it helps quite a bit. But like 3 days for a tail show
Yeah.
for it, and then for like the one we did with Bucket, 2 hours. It was
Yeah.
a quick one. It just fell into place.
Okay, let me see. I saw there's another one here. Virunga from Sharon Solomon, and I know lots of people really want to know about this from Virunga. Virunga, how do you find the music for the videos?
Well, I basically just listen to music while I'm doing other things, and then I just mark them down, and then think, okay, this will work great in this sequence, and then I just use them
So-
like a week later.
Yeah, our house is always full of music. I don't think there's any time when music isn't playing. Oh, there is. It's when I'm watching rugby.
Yes.
Other than that, there's always music on the go.
But then I got my cans.
Yes, Virunga doesn't listen to the rugby. So what happens is that while we're working or whatnot, we have these subscriptions that we pay for, that we get our music for. So we make sure we're supporting the independent artists that are creating just as we are. And so as I said, Virunga will have that playing constantly. And then when he hears a song he likes, pop, and that's that. Redstone Prime, how long have you been a part of Painted Dog TV, Virunga?
That's a trick question.
Yeah, it's day one. So yeah, Painted Dog TV was formed by Virunga and myself. I think the idea probably came about when we were in the Mara
Yeah.
in June.
But it started as a joke.
Yeah, it started as a joke. We're like, well, we should go make our own stuff. Wow. In June? No, probably earlier than June.
Yeah, about this.
The migration, June, yeah. And then, yeah, who would have thought? Yeah, no. Leave the wildebeest. Leave the wildebeest. There's a herd of wildebeest that are driving in that. Okay, Virunga.
Cool.
Bye, Virunga. I
Bye.
can see Virunga doesn't want to be here anymore. Should we make Charles do it next? No. Maybe one person a show. Zander, I'm going to get you up here one of these days. Larimore, the only musical instrument that Virunga plays is the mouth trumpet, eh, Virunga? Chloe likes it. She ran off to him.
It's a snack.
Velma, Virunga does still have his camper, and we're not sure where we want to go after lockdown. I was thinking Ghana Rizzo in Zimbabwe, but we'll see. Okay. So guys, it's been absolutely wonderful having you here. As I said, we've got lots of exciting things that are on the plate at the moment with Endangered Wildlife Trust, with opening up a new area. We will keep you updated on those as soon as we can speak about them. Obviously, some stuff we can't just yet. We need to get all the T's and C's and planning in place, and we're very, very excited about all the future expansion and projects that we're going to be doing. And as I said, don't worry, we will continue to follow the wonderful animals of the Rietsbraet Game Reserve: Mabai, MP, Hahani, Nyaleti, Bucket, Bibi, the 4 little girls, and the 3 big boys. So very exciting times. So a big thank you again to LED Lenser. And see, the torches even work inside. We've got LED Lenser lights all around us. That's what's creating this lovely ambiance, created by the one and only set designer, editor extraordinaire, Zander, all known as Eggsy Forster. And of course to the Steenberg family for allowing us to be here, and to our patrons who this would not be possible without you. Very, very, very big thank you. And guys, the app is coming along nicely, so we'll keep you updated with that as soon as that's ready. And of course to the wonderful Super Chat sponsors, we do appreciate it immensely. And again, thank you so much for everything, and we hope to continue being able to produce you true, authentic, conservation-focused wildlife viewing in the future, and for many, many, many more years. Now, I think for the last little bit of well, before I say goodbye completely, well, I'm going to say goodbye completely, but I think we should re-roll that bucket, that wonderful bucket video for you guys to end off on. From us here out in the Rietspreid Game Reserve on a rainy Tuesday night. Bye!
Do you remember those long summers? We played water fights, stayed up at night and dreamed of ways through the world. I still remember the first time I kissed you, the look on your face as I grazed your lips with my lips. Our worlds collided. Those were the days when everything was possible. Our dreams were alive. We had a fire inside. Those were the days. Those were the days. I'll always remember that cold night you told me we're not two, but we're gonna be three. In 8 months we'll be a family. Those were the days when everything was possible. Our dreams were alive, we had a fire inside. Those were the days. These are the days, and everything's still possible. Our dreams are alive, we've got that fire inside. These are the days. These are the days, and everything's still possible. Our dreams are alive.